Hey everyone, kind of a different perspective here today. Out at the farm, you'll see a lot of difference here. Down there is where I usually come in and start. Yeah, that's where our solar electric fence charger is. All this has been bush hogged by my brother. He came out and helped me out the other day. We did not till or disc or anything like that, just simply bush hogged. And we'll leave the rest for a while. You'll see we had our first really bad freeze. We'd had our frost, but then on the 10th of November, I believe it was the 10th, I'll have to go back and double check, but 10th of November, we had our first below 32 degree night / morning. It was 28 degrees that morning, and so pretty much everything that's a warm season crop gave up. So you'll see these marigolds have lost all their green. The only thing left is the flowers, and those are shriveled up and ready for me to harvest the seed. But going back to talking about the freeze, if you've been around for my gardening videos this summer, you know that pretty much everything has been 2 weeks ahead. So 2 weeks ahead of our average for the last couple years, and that freeze is no exception. We were exactly 2 weeks ahead of last year's freeze. So interesting that we kept that pattern. Next thing I'm going to do, you'll remember if you watched the last episode that there was a debate about cotton and what to do about these plants, whether to go ahead and harvest the cotton that had opened, like what you see over here, or whether to just leave them. So I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, and people kind of went back and forth with it. So the general consensus was that if the cotton boll was already mature, meaning it had fully formed the cotton inside the boll, then when the frost hit, it would just cause it to burst open and you'd be fine. Now, if it was immature, like, say, this one, that didn't have time to mature all the way, and you'll see it still even has some green on it, that it would not pop open and would just be damaged. So it's too hard for me to open it. But so this didn't get to produce. But I think it's still a win. I think leaving it and letting the frost hit is fine, because some of these I don't think would have opened without the freeze. I think if I had picked them prematurely and put them somewhere, I don't know that they would have opened. I think they needed this freeze to make them pop open. But you'll remember I already harvested quite a bit from these down here, but this is all new that I'm going to harvest here in a second. And then if you stick around sometime probably between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'll show you what I do with this cotton and how I remove the seeds and what I turn it into. Alright, here we are digging up the sweet potatoes. So you'll see this is the remains of the vine. My brother came and weed eated it for me to get the weeds out. And you'll see him already peeking out there. Alright, so I'm just going to wiggle the whole mass here. And this is how I like to dig them up. A lot of people will use a pitchfork, sometimes a tractor, and then just wiggle. And there you go. Beautiful sweet potatoes. And interestingly, they're growing straight up and down, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so that's one batch. I'll show you what I already have in the bucket. Here we go. And we'll see if all 19 plants produced. So remember the potato plant that we were watching in this big mound of dirt and weeds down here on the end? Well, we had our really bad freeze, and this is the remains of the top of the plant. If you'll look and see how thick that vine got, It did really, really well, and you'll remember I didn't plant this potato. More than likely, the tractor did when it was helping me bush hog and move things around. But I wanted to show you, so this is the hole that where the potato plant was. These are the potatoes that were on the plant. Nice, beautiful potatoes that I didn't have to plant. And I wanted to show you, I don't know if you've ever seen it before, but that's how the potatoes grow on the stem. So this particular kind, this is Yukon Gold, it doesn't grow deep in the ground. It grows one layer of potatoes about, I'd say that's what, probably 6 inches deep. And you get these little potatoes. They can get really large if you have a long enough season and they stay there. But most of the time, they're about this size. But yeah, pleasant surprise. Those will make it to the Thanksgiving table. But if you want to see these roots up close, pretty cool, actually. So you can see the beginnings of some little potatoes there. Here's a little potato. Definitely very neat. And like I said, a very thick, fibrous stalk there. And of course, the leaves killed by our really bad freeze the other day. So I told you I'd keep you updated on these peas. You remember these are green peas. And they are still blooming. Some more than others. The one down here is really happy. And you'll see all the pea pods hanging. But if you look closely, so see these pods right here, see how they're speckled? I'm thinking that is either freeze or frost damage, because what they're supposed to look like is like that. And so we'll see if these will actually fill out. They may have been damaged by the freeze and they'll just fall off the plant. Or they may fill out. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. You'll see some of them turning yellow. The leaves are getting pretty yellow. I believe that is from me missing a mature pea on that plant. So peas, like most fruiting plants, once their fruit has matured enough to have mature seed in it, then it will stop producing anymore, because the plant considers that it itself has reproduced. So I think I must have left some on these right here for a little too long, and so the plant got that memo that, hey, we can stop now. So these, you'll see they're very rounded shaped there. They are on a fence. They're on a piece of chicken wire held up by stakes, but it needed quite a few more stakes. So what I've been doing, peas are really strong plants, and so what I've been doing is letting the plant fall on that side, picking everything on top here, and then I'll go on that side and pick some more and then flip them back and do the same thing. You'll remember the ones down there weren't staked, so they've been quite a bit of a pain. But in doing just one side of this row, I already have this whole bucket full. So I don't think that's bad at all. That's about it for this year's gardening season. The only thing still green are the peas, which are still doing really well. I have a few things I need to do. I just finished picking the majority of the cotton. I need to come back out and get the seeds off of these marigolds and these zinnias, if there are any still left. And then kind of just get the garden settled in for the winter. I'm not going to do any additional covering on this garden. No leaves or wood chips or anything like that. Because we had such a problem with squash bugs, I want to try and keep there from being any debris that they could be hiding in over the winter. So I'll also come back and bush hog all of this once I've gotten all my seeds and everything is done. We'll see how long the peas will hang in there. I think I'll probably lose some of them, but they may hang out. We'll give them a try. It's a beautiful sunset. I don't know that the camera can pick it up. Very cold sunset. It's about probably about 50 degrees right now, maybe a little bit cooler. Kind of early to be having cool days like this. This is obviously the evening, not the morning, because I'm not a morning sun type of person. I'm an evening sun type of person. I'm not one of those people that's up at 4 or 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. But I'll be out here with the best of them at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. But anyways, I hope you've enjoyed this garden series. I will probably have at least one more video on the garden, maybe a couple more. I need to show you what I'm going to do with the cotton. I also need to finally get the peanut video to you, and I need to do my results from my soil sample test, and tell you what I'm going to do about that and how that's going to work with next year's garden. Also, if you want to know about it, I can do a video on the irrigation, the drip irrigation that we have, and how that works and how that went. This is our first year using that, the same with this electric fence. So I can do a video explaining that if you are interested. But that's pretty much all I have for today. Most of our pretty leaves are gone. We do still have some leaves on this winged elm, and if you aren't familiar with a winged elm, they are very interesting and very cool, so check that out. I can show you up close if you'd like, but I'll leave you with the sounds of the garden and unfortunately the road. I don't know if you can tell or not, but way over there, see those white things out there in that field? Those are our lovely geese finishing up the farmer across the street crop. He harvested it sometime last week, and they're finishing it off for him. But anyways, I'll leave you with the sounds of the garden, and I hope you're having a great week.